Welcome to the Million Pound Mission Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Shively, the PhD, the previously heavy dude, and I'm on a 1 million pound mission. Now, I've personally lost over 100 pounds, and I've applied what I've learned from my own transformation journey to help my hometown clients lose over 35,000 pounds in just 5 years. Now I'm on a mission to produce over 1 million pounds of results by delivering my best weekly tips, motivation, inspirational stories, and transformation strategies so that you can gain clarity about what you need to do to reach your goals and give you the confidence to take action. And the perfect time to start taking action is right now. So let's do this. Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the Million Pound Mission Podcast. It's your buddy, Adam, the PhD, the previously heavy dude. How's it going out there in podcast land? This is episode number 165, The Obesity Revolution with Sean Mulroney. Before we dive into this one, and it is a powerful one, but first I gotta give a shout out to our sponsor, Ultra Human. Now, they have some amazing products. I'm implementing their 3 core products with their brand, the Tao, T-A-O. I take that. It's a nootropic that I take in the beginning of the day before breakfast. I use their amino code during my workouts and sometimes even a little bit extra after the workout because I love it so much. And then the Keto Plus MCT is a great pre-workout if you are on the ketogenic diet. It's amazing. My favorite flavors are the Dragonberry for the Keto Plus MCT and the amino code. Check them out at theultrahuman.net, theultrahuman.net, and use the promo code MPM10 to save 10% off your order. You're going to love it. Make sure you guys also tune in right at the end of this episode and check out my info on our brand new and ready to launch Million Pound Mission Bootcamp. Don't miss out on that. It's going to be awesome. So let's talk about this episode. And I'm going to warn you up front that this one's powerful. This one is good, like really good. And we're going to light you up. So many of us, we're out there, we're motivated to lose weight so that we can get healthy. We can reclaim our health. We can live our lives optimally. But this week, my guest is motivated in a different way. He's motivated because he's fighting for his life in a battle against obesity. So Sean Mulroney is my guest this week, and he hit a top weight at almost 700 pounds. And he was basically just trapped inside of a body and a lifestyle that was slowly killing him. And Sean made some brave choices, and now he's lost over 100 pounds. He's got momentum going, and he's putting his journey out there for everyone to see as he attempts to just reclaim his health and help as many people as possible along the way. It's, the TV show, The Biggest Loser, a lot of people are pro or con Biggest Loser. The thing I don't like about that show is that they put them in fictional scenarios. They put them in ideal scenarios where your trainer lives with you and, all your food is made for you. You don't have to worry about bills. You don't have to worry about relationships. Sean is living a real life. He's got a family. He's got, family obligations to take care of. He's got a job. He has bills to pay. And he is putting everything out there on his YouTube page, his Instagram page, his Facebook page, and telling his story and letting you guys in there right alongside of him. And we have one heck of a good interview. We talk about how his battle with drug addiction as a youth turned into food addiction later on. We talk about his rock bottom moment when he realized that he needed to absolutely get some help or he was going to die. We talk about his number one goal, the why behind that goal, and the why now behind his why. You're going to love his answers to those. We talk about what situations still make him kind of nervous about slipping up on his program. He's very honest and open about that. He talks about how he's staying positive and not being intimidated by the large amount of weight he still has to lose. He still has, several hundred pounds to lose. And I asked him, how do you not get intimidated by that? And he delivers a great answer there. And then finally, we wrap up with his advice for somebody that's in a similar situation that, is in that morbidly obese situation and they need to take action and reclaim their life and what advice he would give that person. Like I said, Sean does not disappoint with us. He's a really just heartfelt dude. He's real, and he's ready to change his life and help as many people as possible along the way. So without further ado, here's episode number 165, The Obesity Revolution with Sean Mulroney. All right, Sean, welcome to the Million Pound Mission Podcast. How are you doing today, my friend?
Man, doing good, Adam. Better than I deserve. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I'm fired up because you bring some unique experience. You bring a unique story to the Million Pound Mission. And I think we're going to light people up with this one. We're going to get people into action because I know that you're all about action. So I want to start off talking a little bit about your story, especially with your battle with addiction and specifically drug and alcohol addiction at a very young age growing up.
Yes. Well, you said about being unique. I definitely am unique. I'm a freak of nature, if you will. You know what I'm saying, Adam? So I'm honored that, unique can't be spelled unless you were in it. So, I'm a unique individual and I love uniqueness. And so go back to, my start, I was 6 years of age, Adam, whenever I got introduced to drugs and alcohol. First time I tried marijuana, first time I tried alcohol. Of course, in that time period, my father passed away when I was 6 at the same time, just like it was like, all one sweep of things. And I'm the youngest of 5 kids. So when my dad died, my mother couldn't afford a babysitter at that time. And so my 2 older sisters, which my next sister to me is 9.5 years older than me. So my oldest brother's 18 years older than me. And of course I was sort of like the accident, if you will, like the surprise baby, and mind you, they did get a surprise. And, so I started that and, went and blossomed. My sisters were still in their teens and, they were partying and drugs, culture, all that stuff. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is where I'm originally from, concrete jungle, north side of Pittsburgh. And so what happened is from there, it sort of downward spiraled. I got a taste of it by 13. I was addicted. I was, drug addict, alcoholic, more alcohol than anything. But from 13 to 21 years of age, I made, bad choices through all my teen years. And with that being said, drugs was taken over. I played sports in high school. By now you would not, know that. I played football and baseball. I excelled in both sports. And then through my years, drug addiction, alcoholism, bad choices. I played music. I played drums. I was a drummer. I went more after sports. I got more involved because of the drugs, to the music culture and all that stuff. And so by 21, I was doing things that, a 40-year-old, wasn't even doing. And it was just a bad scenario. I had friends that died from overdose, family that died from heroin overdoses, alcohol, drug drinking and driving accidents, suicide. So it sort of, came to the realization is that I'm not an exception to the rule, Adam. What if that happens to me? It was like, the light went on. And a man who's a mentor to me to this day told me, he goes, Sean, the choice is yours, not the consequence. And that went on. And of course, my mom was always there for me. No matter what, I come home, stoned or drunk, she was there for me. But then 21, I gave that all up. And I came to myself, did an about face, quit that culture. And then you know what I did? Do fast food. I turned to, the addiction and replaced it, as if you will, at 21. So wow. It was a change, and it took me over. And then the inactivity plus the food, and then plus I love pop. I call it pop. I don't know. You might call it soda. Yeah, my wife calls it soda.
Yeah, we're from the Midwest. Midwest, I think, goes with pop.
Well, but you better believe me. I don't care where you go, anywhere. I call it pop, no matter where you're at. You know what I'm saying? That's me and my wife. She calls it soda. I'm like, come on now. If you don't call it pop, I'm going to pop you in the eyes. I tell her so, and then she doesn't like that. But so I changed all that, and my addiction. Of course, you have to replace, that addiction and, food. I didn't have the proper way of eating, fast food, late at night eating, it just was, it was a whole, ball of bad that took over me. And it was a mess, if you will. It just a big mess.
So you basically transitioned from drug and alcohol addiction into realizing that you need to do something about that. You were able to power through that, stop it, which is a huge accomplishment, but that addiction kind of transferred over to food and food addiction. And so how far down that path did you go? Like, what was the end point as far as what were what was your lifestyle like? What were, what, your weight, obviously the top weight that you hit before you realized, like, kind of just take us to that moment when you're standing there and realizing, okay, my weight is now the issue, the food addiction is now the issue, and now I have to overcome this, and this new journey begins.
That's a great question. And, Adam, the thing, addiction, it was like a sort of a fine line. Like drugs you can do without, with, alcohol you can do without, but food, you know what I'm saying? Mine was not having the proper balance of, what food was. Like, you go, people assume, and that's what I'm trying to do is, create awareness and kill the assumption, because people that are morbidly obese, they don't eat 10 Big Macs a day. You know what I'm saying? Not in the way the TV and everything portrays that stigma, if you will. But what I did is I ate bad, any, sugar, you eat one meal at a Chili's restaurant, you can consume 1,400 calories with one meal. And then you do that through the course of the day and not have any knowledge. You don't know what you don't know. And so I just be, pop, what I mean? Fast food. That was every meal. You know what I'm saying? I'd eat a Big Mac or, large fry and a large Coke, supersize it, or maybe have, an apple pie. And so I would do that all the time, and then go to late at night at 1 o'clock in the morning, you go into a restaurant, sit down restaurant, and you're eating a big meal before you go, to bed. And that was just, a no-no. And I didn't know that, or maybe I did, but I never had that kind of education. And I just put into that. And then all of a sudden, my weight, I knew I was putting weight on, you know what I'm saying? No doubt about it. And so whenever I got married, my wife and I will be married 20 years this August. We got married in 1998. So I was a functional obese person, in the 300, upper 200s, 300 pounds, upper 300s, through this whole time up until 98. Whenever I got married, I was about 355 pounds, and I was functional. I was traveling. I have a nonprofit called Teens of America that I work with troubled youth, and I spoke in public schools all across the country. So I'd be able to fly. I was functional, walking, and all that stuff was great. But I was eating like, it was bad, different meals, fast food, nothing healthy at all. And so what happened is, I remember when I got married, about 355 pounds. I was good. So in 1998 to 2000, I was still eating so bad. So 2000 what happened, and I think what a perfect storm happened, Adam, is what it went on. I was down in Louisiana speaking in an event for youth, and I got real sick. I got real flu-y. I had a red patch on my leg. I thought I got bit by a spider. And sure enough, it was cellulitis, and I didn't know what cellulitis was. And so before I flew out, I went to the doctor there in Louisiana. He put me on an antibiotic, sent me on my way. Well, I did not know that my lymph system on my right side of my body was shutting down and getting compromised because of that. Was it the chicken or the egg? I don't know. So from there, whenever I got that infection, I kept on getting these infections. I'd get it, and then that leg, it would swell up. And then it would go down a little bit, and it keeps swelling up between 2000 and 2004. And I didn't pay any attention to it. I just thought it was, I was gaining weight, and I thought that was, more a fat deposit or whatever, not knowing, not educated.
Right.
And so I went there from 2000 to 2004. I got an allergic reaction to an antibiotic, and I did not know I had Stevens-Johnson syndrome, and I had blisters over 90% of my body.
Wow.
And I would walk. Yeah, I would walk at them, and it would they would burst, not being, gross, but they would. I mean, you could hear them. And in my mouth, my throat was hurting, and went to the doctor. Doctor said, you need to go to the emergency room. I went, and my leg was turning black because it was, it wasn't healing because the antibiotic was doing the adverse, reaction. And so I went to the hospital, and sure enough, the infectious disease doctor said to me, he goes, let me check your throat. So he checked my throat. Dr. Nalor, I'll never forget him. He looked, he stopped everything. He said, shut everything down, turn off the IVs, because they already had to be pumped in, IV antibiotics through the IV. He says, no. he stopped everything. He goes, when did you take your last dose? I said, I didn't take it. I said, I was getting ready to. And he says, if you would have taken that last dose, you wouldn't be here.
Wow.
He says, you would have been dead. And so it was going into my mucous membrane, Adam. And he reversed all that, saved my life. Within 24 hours, all that put, me on steroids, you know what I'm saying, prednisone. And that swelling started going. I mean, my skin was so tight. It felt like the Toxic Adventure. You know what I mean? It was just bursting. And so my wife, her and I just had a good cry and didn't know how close I was. And my wife, there was a scale on the bed, Adam, and she's like, I haven't got weight. I didn't get weight from 98 to this time. I didn't know. And so she put that scale and she looked down and then looked at me, didn't want to say anything. I said, what's up? She said, you're 567. I said, no, come on. I said, so from 2000 to 2004, I put on almost 300 pounds. Wow. Because of the food I was eating, bad lifestyle. And then not only on top of that, my lymph system was shutting down because of all these infections and was compromised. And it sort of came to a head. And then my highest weight I got to was 687 pounds.
Wow.
And that was devastating to me, man. I wanted to die. I was like, man, I never set out to be 687 pounds. I mean, and I didn't know if I would have known about cellulitis and lymphedema, years ago when it happened, I would not be where I'm at right now because there's ways to treat it, but doctors don't know about it. They're dismissive about it, especially when you're obese. Trainers don't want to take time. They don't want to help, because they don't know how to work with somebody my size. And doctors tell me to go see the weight loss person. The weight loss person says, go see the doctor. I was in a revolving door. I had 30 trainers that turned me away, Adam, and it was devastating. So I got to 687 pounds.
Wow. What an unbelievable story. So at that moment, like what was the moment like when you decided that things were going to start going in the other direction? And you were like, okay, mm-hmm. I overcame drug addiction. You'd kind of proven it to yourself that you could overcome something that had a grip on you. And now you had to do this with your health, with your nutrition, which, like you mentioned, is very hard because you have to eat food.
Yes.
It can't be like stopping smoking cigarettes and never smoke another cigarette. You have to eat food. So it's a whole other battle. So I'm really interested in diving into that also. But what was that moment like when you shifted gears?
Well, it was a process. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was like you lost weight, Adam. You've lost over 100 pounds. A person that's obese or morbidly obese wants to lose weight. I mean, we want to lose weight worse than our spouse or our friends or our family. People come, hey, you need to lose weight. Really? I mean, yes, I do know I need to lose weight. But what happened was 6 years ago, here's where I wanted to. I tried everything. I tried diets. I tried try-its. You know what I'm saying? I did this and I tried to get my body under subjection, but you can't do that unless the mind. If you don't overcome the mind, and the hardest prison to escape is our own mind. And I was trapped, not just physically obese, but mentally obese. I was there. I was like, I can't get out of this. I'm trapped. They're in a pit that I can't get out of. And so 6 years ago, I was in the hospital. I've been in the hospital I've had infections 18 times since 2000.
Wow.
That I hospitalized 11 times, almost died twice, went septic, had sepsis, all that stuff. Blood count 26,000. My blood pressure through the roof. My fever was 104.9. They had to bring ICU to me, and they thought I was delirious. That's how bad it was. And
wow.
I was in a dark period too for a year prior to that. And I didn't want to live. I wanted to die. I was saying, God, just take me out of here, whatever I had to do. My wife knew that. And, I had a 2-year-old. It took us 12 years to have children. I have 3 daughters right now, and which is awesome. It took, I have an almost 8-year-old Maddie. She was there, during that time. And my wife was in her mind. She was so supportive of me. My wife is a rock, man. My wife is like, I couldn't do without her. And so what happened was she was trying to go through the process because she thought, she'd never seen me in that darkness that I've been in. And she was already planning. She's like, how am I, I'm going to be a widow. I'm going to be a single mother, you know, all this stuff. But she did not tell me this until I came out of this, because she didn't want to put any more pressure on me, which is awesome. And so 6 years ago, my mother passed away, my mother was my, you know, the one that loved me, that, you know, through my life, you know, is passed away. And I couldn't even get home because I was in the hospital. And she passed away in December 29th of 2012. And I couldn't even get home. I had to FaceTime her, and she was calling for me, and I had to tell her bye via FaceTime. And my brothers and sisters around me, and she passed away 2 hours later because she was waiting for her baby boy to get to her. Wow. And I just told her, I said, Mom, go ahead, let go. We love you. You know, it was, you know, and I had to do it by FaceTime. So I'm in the hospital, had a bad experience, had the doctors, they treat a lab rat. They didn't believe me. A nurse told me in that hospital stay during this time. She said, I'm disgusting. She said, how could I ever let myself get this fat? She said, you're an obese, disgusting, lazy, fat person. Is what the nurse said to me was my wife and I were standing there.
Oh my God.
No joke. No, I'm not even lying about that. And I'm like, I thought, man, it's like, wait a minute. Am I hearing this? Is she joking? I mean, I'm like, but no, my wife had to file a report, and she filed this report and got that nurse off of that. And, you know, the doctors were coming in, sorry, but they kept me 4 extra days longer, told me I was a diabetic. I'm not. They said my blood pressure, I have heart. I don't have any of those problems. And I told them that. I said, get my records. I said, I don't. I said, I have lymphedema, which is my big problem. And they didn't listen to me. They were dismissive. So I was like, man, and that's what happened a lot through obese people, because we don't matter. You know what I'm saying? There's a stigma on us. So, which I trudged through that. So the turning point was my daughter, when she was born in 2010, you know, I cut Maddie's umbilical cord, man. And it was like, wow, it was getting real. I have another life that's depending on me. Then she's 4, she just turned 4. And whenever she came, I cut that umbilical cord, Adam, and I'm like, I'm looking at their faces. I'm seeing them come into life. And I'm like, I got another life. December 26th, 2016, Mackenzie was born, our third daughter. She's a year and 4 months now. And I cut that umbilical cord, Adam, and I'm like looking down, and it's like this thing came over me. And I was thinking to myself, I don't want them to remember me just in pictures. I don't want that. I want to walk them down the aisle. I don't want somebody else walking and them looking for who's going to walk me down the aisle. I need to be there. And like the light went on. I mean, this big bulb flashing. And so we got settled into my wife's room, got Mackenzie, took pictures, you know, and we left. I took my 2 oldest, and my mother-in-law came to my house, picked up the girls, because I was tired. We had to get up at dark 30 in the morning. You know, it was right so to be at the hospital. And so here's what happened. I remember, you know, you find your why, you find your way. Okay. And that's that simple. It was like the mind was just, I was getting it for 6 months. So I was on my weight loss journey for 6 years during that time in the hospital. I came out, and 6 years ago, I gave up soda and fast food like that. I gave it up. My wife was like, what? You're giving it up? She was shocked. So it was like that process. But for 5 years, I spent getting my mind in shape, Adam. And so what happened is when I came home that day on the 26th of December, I was sitting there watching my 2 girls. And I'm telling you, it was like I was looking into the future almost. And I was looking at them too, and I'm thinking of Mackenzie, and they left. My mother took them, and I said, man, I'm going to call a gym, because I had other gyms and trainers turn me away. And so I called a gym 3 miles away from my house. Okay. I did not think nothing. I just said, I'm just going to do this. I'm tired. And I'm thinking that's probably why I did it, because I was tired and delirious, you know? And so I get on the phone and I leave a message with the receptionist. I just gave her my story. I poured my heart out to her. I'm like, somebody got to listen to this. And she says, man, that's a story. She goes, I'm going to have a trainer call you. I'm like, okay, you know, yeah, right. An hour later, I was like, it was like, sure, you're going to do that. And so an hour later, I get a call. He goes, Sean Mulroney there? I go, yes, this is he. She goes, Sean, Brandon Glore. I'm from the gym. I got a message. I go, yes. I see. He goes, hey, tell me so we talked for an hour on the phone. He goes, hey, he said, I'd love to meet you. And I said, well, this week's rough. I said, my wife just had our third child. He goes, okay. He goes, I get it. He goes, how about I come to your house? I said, what? And I always joke, I couldn't believe it, Adam. I said, I always joke. I said that Brandon wanted to come to my house just to see how fat I was. You know what I'm saying? That's what I joke with him on, other interviews that we have done. And everybody laughs at that, and he laughs. And so he came the next day, December 27th at 2:00 the next day. We spent 2.5 hours together. And I said to him, I told him, I poured it out. I said, here I am. I said, I've done this. I've been trying this. I lost a little bit of weight. I'm not, I need somebody to help me. I am a bodybuilder. I just build body by carbs. You know what I'm saying? So I just built it with the wrong materials.
Right.
And so he said, we talked for 2 hours, and I said, he goes, I did not know this. He wasn't taking any clients on. And he said to me, he goes, you're ready to work, aren't you? I said, I am, man. I said, whatever you throw at me, I'm ready to do it. And he says, okay, so I'm going to take you on. I said, okay. I said, how much? He goes, I'm taking you on for nothing. I said, what? He said, yeah. And here's what I said to him. I said, wait. I said, here's the thing. I said, have you ever worked with anybody my size? He says, never. He said, I went to college. I have a 4-year degree, and all everything. And he says, they spent one day on obesity. And he says, I always had this judgment of a trainer that if you're not going to work, you're obese people, he had that judgment, all that stuff. And he says, I don't have that. He says, I have a passion for helping people that are obese and morbidly obese. He said, that's what if I'm a trainer, I should help people that are in the most need, and regardless of the stigmas. And he said to me, he says, I said, so you never worked with somebody my size? No. He says, well, I said, how's that? How does that work? I said, not that you can't. He says, here's what he said to me, Adam, that changed my life. He says, I want to learn from you. And I said, what? He says, I want to learn from you. And when he said that, I couldn't believe it. How can you learn from me? He goes, I want to learn so we can break the stigmas on people that are obese, that they're not doing and putting in a job. And I said, wow. I said, Brandon, I worked out in the gym. My first day was January 10, 2017, and I've never looked back. And I tell you what, he put me through a workout. My toenails were hurting. My hair was hurting. And I just was hurting so bad. And, I was doing the battle ropes. I never did them before. Full body workout, And anyways, I said to him, I said, here, I'm going to put myself out there even more to my family and friends. I had a public figure page that had about 300 followers. I did nothing with it. Okay. And I said, I want you to film me doing these battle rope things. And he said, okay. So I was going to put it out there on social media to put my butt out there even further for accountability and support. Okay. Right. Well, I put that out there on January 14th, 4 days later. I just put on there, getting my life, fighting my life back. And so anyways, I put that out there. And within 4 to 6 hours, it got 200,000 views.
Wow.
And I was like, what? I was like, it just started blowing up. And then within the next day, it had 1.2 million views. Wow. And I had people just blowing me up. And it was just, and ever since that, I've been in the gym since January 2017, eating. I do 3 things: water, workout, and I watch what I eat. And since then, I've lost 105 pounds since January 2017. And of course, you hit those plateaus and all that stuff. It's a battle. It's not, it's so, hard. I'm not going to say that it's easy. It hasn't been easy, but I haven't looked back, and I'm in it. And then all of a sudden it turned into a whole movement, the obesity revolution. And people were hashtag Team Sean, hashtag the obesity revolution. And then all of a sudden it started, and I had hundreds of people that were reaching out to me still to this day, a week, that were hiding in the shadows of obesity, because I'll end on this. 40% of America is obese right now. Man. And 30% of those never come out of their homes. So about 50 million people are where I'm at. I talk to people, Adam, that were in their homes and trapped in their bedrooms for 7 years and haven't been out. Wow. And haven't been out of their home, for 10 years, haven't been out in public. And they were reaching out because they're on the internet, they're on, the news. And my story's been featured in Forbes magazine. That guy takes over Forbes. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
I was featured in Forbes. My Fox 2 interview has 502 million views just by itself. And then all of a sudden people start signing up. And then the other thing is that my views on Facebook are now at 25 million since January 2017. And LinkedIn, I'm at 6 million viewers on LinkedIn right now.
Wow.
And I got blown up on that some way. I always post on there, but I got blown up on there, became a LinkedIn global ambassador. And I'm like, what is going on? And I'm like, I just put myself out there because I found this out. I said, you don't have to be perfect to inspire people. You just have to show people how you deal with your imperfections. And there's a lot of strength and vulnerability. And I said, I'm going to share the struggle. I'm going to juggle the struggle and say, come on along. And now I can't tell you. And then Brandon Gore, my awesome trainer who changed my life, he came to me and said, I want to do a contest. I said, what do you mean? He said, I want to take 4 more people that have reached out to you at no cost for 6 months. I said, what? So when we got interviewed on Fox, we put that at the end. Mandy Murphy, who's the interviewer, she put it on at the end. We had over 500 people enter the contest.
Wow.
And I had to do a 250-word essay, Adam. And I was reading all of them, and I wanted to take them all on. I'm like,
right.
I can't do this. It was too close to home because, I want to be the person that I needed at the darkest period. And now a program has come together that I needed, that's built around my needs so I can help other people. And so Brandon was reading them. He's like, I can't read. I said, I want to take them. I want to take them all on. I'm like, we just can't. And so we had to get a team of 10 people because we wanted to get down to 10 finalists. And so what happened, I got a team of 10. We divvied up the contestants, and they finally got down to the final 10, and Brandon was going to call them. And so Brandon called all 10 that were the finalists, and we had all over the world, Adam. I mean, it was everywhere. I mean, it was, people. So he's going to take 2 on here in St. Louis and then 2 anywhere else in the world. And so we got down to the final 10. Brandon called them all up, the 10. And he called, and they were like excited. They were beside themselves. They couldn't believe that they were chosen for this. They were just like, what? What's going, I mean, and all of a sudden he goes, okay. He came back to me, Adam, after he talked to them. He said, Sean, he always does this to me whenever he weighs me. He looks down and he shakes his head, and then he shows it to me, and I'm surprised because I'm thinking, oh, well, tell me how bad it is. And then that's when he surprised me whenever I got my 100-pound weight loss because he's like, and so he did the same thing. He goes, I can't take on 4, Sean. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, I got to take on all 10. So he took on all 10 that he called them up, and they started January 13th this year, almost a year to the day that I posted my first video.
Wow.
And they were so excited. So we have, 6 here and then 4 out of the, out of state and out of country. And so he's worked with them, and now 7 of them are down 249 pounds since January 13th, or actually February. And so it started, and now it's starting into a whole other thing that people are doing that. We're starting to offer for people that are struggling with morbid obesity. They're reaching out now. We have a bunch of people on the waiting list. And then what we're going to do is give them and make it available to them. We had an app that was created for us specifically for the obesity revolution that has a video component in it and accountability structure support. So Brandon can work out with them in group settings or whatever. And now we want to partner with other trainers because we can't do it. He can't do it by himself. And so what we're doing is it just started a whole other thing, Adam. And I don't have to do this. I get to do it. And my butt's so far out there on the branch that if I come back, I'm going to get lynched if I do. Right. And it's just a whole other layer of accountability. And man, it's just like, I'm so beside myself. Yeah. And it's awesome.
Yeah. You really hit the nail on the head with that accountability word. That's something that I'm huge on. And I'm a little bit polarizing because of the amount of accountability that I make my clients go through. Like my programs, when I have somebody that's doing one of our coaching programs, they have to report every day. It's not one of those like sign up for the program and here's the number to contact in case you need help. Right. It's report every day or we find you for the report. Like it's going to happen or it's not going to happen. So I think you're a great example of a process that I talk about a lot on the podcast with my clients. And it starts with setting a goal. And then, which obviously you've done, then you layer that up with a why behind the goal. And I always say that your why has to be greater than all the why nots if you're going to make positive progress.
That's good.
But then like that. Behind the why, you have to have a why now. And why are you going to take action now? And if that is big enough, then you will take action. And that's exactly what you did. You set your goal. You developed your why with your girls. The why now was your health. I'm like, you were going to die if you didn't do this.
Yes.
Then you took action. And then you took action. So that's a perfect example of that process being, just lit up, and you've got amazing momentum going now. So the next thing I'm really curious about is, you've got momentum, but what I see people that run into that, I work with morbidly obese people. I work with people that are very heavy. They get intimidated by what's still in front of them. Like I know you have a goal to get to 200 pounds body weight. How do you not let that get inside your head where you're like, okay, I'm down 100, but I still have several hundred to go? How do you not get in your own head about that? How do you not let that intimidate you?
Oh, man, I'd be lying if I didn't get inside my head. I'm my biggest hater. Okay. Bottom line. I've kept myself, I'm the one that says, hey, you're fat. You're never going to make it. You're not going to do this. I've had haters that do that. You get people that are unkind, and I don't understand how people can hate on somebody that's trying to better themselves. That's why I'm not just talking about it. I'm doing it. But I wanted to throw in the towel, Adam. Here's the thing. I went and I lost the weight, and I would gain 20 pounds of water weight. I'd be down 10 pounds, and then I retain fluid like a sponge. You know what I'm saying? I'm SpongeBob Sean pants. You know what I'm saying? Is what forget SpongeBob. I'm Sponge Sean. I just do that because of my lymphedema, and not that it's an excuse. It's an explanation. Okay. So here's what I've done. I think that, number one, you said accountability and support, okay, is vital. Vital. And so what happened is Brandon, came over one time whenever I was really struggling. I'm doing everything right. I'm on it. I'm so on point that, you'd get, if you touch it, you'd stab yourself. And I was so on point, and I would go, and I got on the scale, and I'm like, I can't wait. I was like, I can't wait to get on the scale because the scale has been my enemy. And so what happened is I got on the scale, and I'm up 20 pounds. I'm like, what? And and Brandon's like, here's what Brandon did. Okay. Him being the way he didn't want to, say, he goes, Sean, what's going on? I'm like, what are you thinking? I'm not doing what I'm saying. I'm like, he's like, I'm not assuming. And I said, Brandon, I am doing everything, man. My wife, she chimed in because my wife's not going to lie for me. She's not, if I say I'm doing this, whenever I say I'm drinking water, I'm doing right. I'd rather not say it. If I do it, my wife's going to come right behind me and say, you're a lying sack of, crap if you do.
Yeah.
She's not going to let me. She's honest to a fault. And so I said, Brandon, and then that was whenever that turning point that he's seen, well, there's more to it than this. So what I found out is this, Adam, is that switch, came on, that switch of simplification, that switch of knowing that this isn't a short-term thing. It's a long-term battle that if it's like you think about this. You plant one kernel of corn, okay, and you plant that, you never get one kernel back. You get thousands of kernels. You get a stalk of corn, all these ears of corn. So what happened is my obesity has conglomerated. It's like me planting that one seed, and then now I have a field of obesity, of obeseness that I'm dealing with right now that I can't say what I've done is it's a long-term thing, is that what I did is I had to get out of my head and say, this isn't a short-term fix that we as obese people try to do because we want that magic pill or that magic, potion to get this weight off. Well, guess what? It didn't happen overnight, and it's not going to come off overnight. And I got to be in this to win this, or I might as well not keep continuing, whether the weight. And what I did that day too, after I came down from myself and got out of my own head, I said that stinking scale was not going to define me at all. What I did is my clothes, you know what I'm saying, they were fitting. I measured that by this, my everything. If that weight, you know what I'm saying, the fluctuation of the scale going down to a battle in that. I said, listen, this is a long-term journey. It is a lifestyle change that if nothing else, I'm going to be healthy. And if I keep trying till my body catches up to me and to my actions because of doing all the bad choices that I've done, This is a consequence. So what I have to do is remain accountable. That Brandon also told me, he says, I'm not going to quit and you're not going to quit. So if I'm not going to quit and you're going to quit, he says, you're the one that's going to out. He goes, you'll quit before I do, is what he said to me. And so I have all that other support, but I have to determine in my mind that this is a long-term goal and a long-term, it's not a quick fix solution, because that's how I wanted to do. I like the quick fixes. We want to do the side turn. So I had to say, I got to be planted and steadfast in where I'm at now, or I might as well just get out and go back and eat in the way I want to. So it was all there that I had to say, it's just a long-term commitment, and that it's not just going to be a quick fix. Yeah. That's what I had to do to get out of my head. Yeah. If I didn't do that, I was going to be back and worse than I ever was.
Yeah, I'm 100% in agreement with that. I love the mindset of the long-term journey. And that's, I teach on a point where I try to teach people how to set two different types of goals. One is an achievement goal. So yes, let's have that big weight loss goal. That's that kind of that horizon line, that finish line. But I feel like it's important to set up what I call habit goals along the way, where it's a process goal. It's an action-based goal, an attendance-based goal, not what the scale is saying. So if you set a goal to lose 100 pounds, what are the habits that you need to develop to lose 100 pounds? And you set goals around that. So I show up at the gym 4 days a week. I drink X amount of water every day. Those are the types of goals that build momentum towards the achievement goal. And you can have that accountability, but like you said, we have to get outside of our own head. And that's our worst enemy, is what happens upstairs. The whole I'm not there yet philosophy. And we forget how far we've come. We forget to turn the other way and go, damn, I'm down 105 pounds, instead of going, I have 300 plus pounds to lose.
50 pounds to lose.
Yeah. So it's that mindset of just being proud of ourselves for a second, and then going, let's use that momentum. Let's focus on the habits that builds the bridge to that achievement goal. And we're going to get there. So whether it's weight loss or anything else, I do the same thing with my business. I have 7 key things that I need to check off every day. And I know if I do those things, which include reading, meditation, my nutrition, my fitness, reaching out and connect with family and friends. If I do those things, that's a successful day. And those are the habits that build a successful life. So now, speaking of habits, I'm interested in what you view as kind of some of the foundational habits or processes that are helping you succeed.
Well, I tell you what, water is one of my key elements. I mean, it's a universal solvent. We all know that. I have to drink a gallon of water a day at least, okay, just to keep me, number one, hydrated, me doing what I'm doing. And so the water and then the workouts at the same time, like I said, the 3 W's I came up with is that water. I have to have water. I have to have a workout. I have to do something, whether I'm at home. Brandon, he started coming to my home at first. He'd make house calls. He was coming to my home to work out, modified workouts in my home. So I was doing like 2 days a week. I'm up to 3 days a week, plus home workouts and stuff like that, plus more activity and stuff. And then watching what I eat. I have to, of course, Brandon has changed my eating plan probably 7 times since I've been working out, because I hit this and I'm doing good, and then I'll lose a bunch of weight. Like I lost 29 pounds in 21 days at one time, because he changed me up and stuff like that. Because I went down to 5% carbs a day, which was 25 grams of carbs, and then my higher fat intake, and then I did also my protein. And then I even had to dial back on my protein, because protein also can turn into, sugar and stuff like that too. Right. So he had to change it up, and I did that. And all of a sudden I hit this other plateau, and then he changed it up. And then what he had to do is that watching what I eat, he put me on a carb overload week. And I hate it. I was not looking for, I'm like, you would have think that your trainer's telling you to go and eat higher carbs, like, about 150, carbs, that day, or grams of carbs. Right. You'd think, man, that was like, no, I was like disappointed. I was like, he's like, no, I want you to, because I did that. I was sort of off on my eating plan one week, and I went down 15 pounds, and I shouldn't have been. I should have been up. That's what I'm a freak of nature. I'm an anomaly. And not that really I am, because there's other people that are battling the same thing, because we get so used, we become fat storing machines that my body's used to holding onto the fat, Adam. It hasn't become a fat burning machine. And then being on antibiotics for 18 years,
Man.
my good bacteria was non-existent, which slows down your metabolism. So my body was prioritizing, and then my metabolism was the last thing on the list to do anything because it was fighting all these infections and keeping me alive and all this stuff. So what happened was he put me on this carb week, and I was disappointed. So I have to have my eating has to be on point, that if I don't, I'm off mentally, and I fight that. I mean, it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing, and that's accountability. So if I have my water every day and I'm working out, that's the best antidepressant you can ever have, man. I hate going to the gym. I try to talk myself out all the time, every time. And I do that, but whenever I get there and I'm done, I feel accomplished. And then when my eating, I have to watch what I eat. And then that clears my mind, and that keeps me going and keeps it simple. I have to do it. That KISS formula, keep it simple, stupid.
Right.
Well, I put it different. Keep it simple, Sean. That's what I do.
I like that one better.
So, yes, me too. So that's what I taught myself, and I have to have them 3 W's in my life to keep me going and have accountability and support, because that's vital. If I have all those things, I'm in a great place.
Yeah, I love the simplicity. I feel like that's another danger zone that people get themselves into, is overcomplicating. And then today is the age of biohacking, and I have to have all these special things that I'm doing to cut corners and shorten the learning curve. And it's just like when I lost my weight, I had 2 rules. I was like, I got to get sweaty every day, and I got to eat clean every day.
That's good. That's good.
You do that consistently over time, good stuff happens. So
always.
Now, Sean, I can already tell you that this conversation is far from over. Our time is running short, but the conversation is far from over. I'm going to definitely have you back on to continue talking about your journey, because I'm really just feel drawn to you and your story. So,
thanks, Adam.
But I want to make sure that people can, in the meantime, follow your story. So, what's the best way to connect with you, get plugged into your stuff, and follow what's going on with you and your story and your awesome journey?
Well, number one, go to the obesityrevolution.com. That's, everything is there. My Forbes story, if you want to read any of my videos, I was on the This Morning UK, which is the biggest morning show over in the UK, 25 million viewers. I was back in August. I was amazed. They wanted me on for 3 minutes. They put me on for 7 minutes. And that went, and then the UK just started slamming me. Because they have almost a bigger problem with obesity than we do here. And so then all my social media is on there, Facebook, Twitter, my LinkedIn, my Instagram. And then, Instagram, my 2 handles are I am Sean Mulroney and the Obesity Revolution. So if you go to the obesityrevolution.com, everything's under one roof, so people don't get that, and then they can follow me. And like I said, on Facebook, people go to my Instagram, people blow that up too and watch it. I post really good stuff and just do my journey. I show the struggle. I talk about I don't want to go to the gym. I talk about how I went over and accomplished this, and then show me working out. I just showed a workout the other day. It's up to 30,000 views right now. Brandon had me do a sled push and 200 pounds on it. And I did it 6 times.
Nice.
I wouldn't have been able to do that last year. So I went down and back, down and back, down and back. And it was amazing with 200 pounds on that sled. And so I shared that, and on LinkedIn, it has 30,000 views. Facebook, and there's like 100,000 views on Instagram. And it's now, on Facebook. So it's like, I just show that if I can do it, you can do it. We have no excuses, because my dreams are bigger than my excuses. So the obesityrevolution.com, that's it.
Amazing. Now, I've got one final question for you. I like to end on kind of an action step question. Sure. I like to challenge my audience to take action. So let's say that there's somebody that's listening into our conversation, and there's somebody that's in a similar position where their health is being dramatically impacted by their weight. All right. Mm-hmm. And they know they need to take action. They're nervous about it. They're scared to do it. If you could sit that person down, look them in the eye, and give them some sort of motivational advice, what would you say?
I'd say this. Okay. Go back to me. My 2 biggest, kryptonites were pop and fast food. Okay. So what I did is anybody that comes to me anytime, I tell them this. I said, I asked them, what is their kryptonite? What is their go-to? What are they struggling with? And then what I do is I tell them this, give it up for 21 days. And I do that. Anybody that's going to come and talk to me more, they want this meal plan, they want this. I tell them, give that very thing that has you weighted down, that is taken you down, that's your biggest weakness. Just like a man, Rich, that reached out to me, his go-to was sweet tea and pop. And I told him, I said, he came to me, he goes, what do I do? How do I do? I said, no. I said, I want you for 21 days. Well, guess what? 3 days ago was his 21st day. He came to me and he was victorious. And then now we're going. And now I got him a consultation with Brandon. The next time I told him that one step. So what I do is find that very thing that is taking you down, has you bound in chains, and take it and transform it. Because if you give it up for 21 days, you won't look back. It's a transformational thing. And my final thing is I came up with an acronym for obesity. And what it is O is overcome the mind. The B is become a better version of yourself. The E is embrace your situation. And then the S is stabilize your environment. The I is intrinsic motivation. The T is transform your habits for 21 days. And the Y is you are responsible and accountable for your own self. So take that one thing that you're doing. Don't worry about everything else down there. Give up that pop for 21 days, and then let's talk.
Sean Mulroney, my goodness, brother, you've got so much great momentum. I'm just so proud of you, my friend. I mean, you're not only changing your life, you're impacting thousands and thousands and millions of other people now. And your mindset is perfect. I've coached a lot of people, and you are in the right mental space to where you will do this. I'm fully confident that you will achieve your goal because there is no plan B. There's no other option. And I know that you're going to get there. So you've got a friend in me. You've got a supporter in me. I'm going to throw a lot of positive mojo your direction. And I just can't wait to see the next big goal that you accomplish, man. It's going to be awesome.
Well, Adam, let me say this. Thank you for having me on the Million Pound Mission. And to everybody out there in the Million Pound Mission Nation, this is an incredible show. I love what you're doing, and I am honored and humbled that I do have a friend in you. I feel like that, we're Woody and Buzz, to the rescue because you got a friend in me. So I feel the same way, man. And that's all the singing I'll do because all your listeners will be like, sayonara, get him off there. But Adam, it was an honor, man. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to share my story. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
All right, listeners, you heard Sean. It's time to get into action. He's somebody that could have very easily just sat and felt sorry for himself and just let things go. But he didn't. He made a choice, and in that moment of decision, his life changed. And the same thing can happen to you. So what is your next moment of decision? What type of action are you going to take based off of what you heard here today with myself and with Sean? And that, my friends, is how we get out there. That's how we own it. Every meal, every workout, every day. I will see you on the next episode. All right, I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I did. I want to take a couple more minutes and tell you about my Million Pound Mission Bootcamp. We are launching soon. You can get all of the details on our website, millionpoundmission.com. We are incorporating every component of my amazing results formula, and I've produced something that I think will blow you away. It's unlike any other online challenge or bootcamp program that you've ever seen. And it, like I said, it incorporates all the key components that always produce amazing results for the people that I get to work with. We've got our nutrition formula. You get to pick between our classic clean eating plan, our paleo plan, our intermittent fasting plan, or our keto plan. We've got a great workout regimen dialed in where some follow along videos day by day by day. We've got some goal setting that you're going to do with your fitness. We've got a weekly topical course that I'm going to walk you through week by week and do strategic thinking about all the things that tend to mess us up, those things that tend to drag us back. After we build some momentum, we hit one of those life happens moments and we fall back and crash and burn. No more crash and burns, my friends. I'm going to solve that for you with my Push 56 course component of this online bootcamp. And of course, we've got accountability. Several of you have the option to upgrade your bootcamp and get a one-on-one daily accountability coach. Otherwise, we have group accountability with our private Facebook page. So many awesome things. I can't sit here and get it all in a 2-minute post roll, but I'm just psyched about this. My goal is to do 1,000 pounds of results in 8 weeks, and I want you to be a part of that. So head on over to millionpoundmission.com, look for the Million Pound Mission Bootcamp information, and get plugged in. Let's do this.